We are rolling.
Nice. So which camera do we slate?
Number one.
Are you seriously starting right now?
We have already started.
What? Seriously? Like,
Make it happen.
all right. So this is, I'm supposed to show this to you. I'm Nicole Feenstra, and this is Producer's Kitchen. And yeah, and it's brought to you by
KCW Technica.
Technically, it's his overlord. That's what he said.
Yes, I'm David Stanford. We've got Alex Wen behind the camera.
And his dogs.
And his dogs.
Two of his dogs. And his wife, Christine. She's lovely.
So,
yep.
You are Nicole Feenstra.
I'm still
The reason you said Broken Hearts Division is because that is your project, your current project.
It is.
One of them. You come in one of them, one of the many. You come from the advertising world.
Started as an actor.
That's where I met you 10 years ago.
Yep, we did a movie.
Yes.
10 years ago. Crazy! Time flies.
So in those 10 years, you've stayed in Los Angeles.
I have.
Around Hollywood, we'll call it all.
Los Feliz, Pasadena.
Los Feliz. But in the business. You've been in it.
Yep.
You've survived.
I have. I'm still here.
You've
they
fed
haven't,
yourself.
they haven't kicked me out yet.
No. You still have use of facilities.
Yeah.
So
nobody hates me that I know of.
Well,
I mean,
how'd you do it? So I say advertising because that's
what you know.
What I know.
Yeah. So so when I got out of college as an actor at USC, go Trojans, I was like, I need a job because I was like abject terror. Like I don't know how.
You weren't making a lot of money.
I was. No, because I was out of college. So I was like, first of all, I started a crazy water filter multi-level marketing company, where I lost all my money and learned how to not do business. Had to go home with my tail between my feet and my legs, and like had to rebuild and like was mocked by friends and family for doing business the wrong way and offending and pushing people too hard, and so I kind of like pulled way back, like just as far as like being, you know, a business person, being a creative. I decided to get into advertising because I knew that it was a combination of like storytelling and commerce.
Oh, okay.
So worked with like big companies at this online website called AWM, which is all about animation, and like started playing with the digital ads, and then was dealing with network ads, and just really got my feet buried in how advertising works, and like working with companies and big companies, small companies, and learned that like that was sort of an interesting way to find an audience. Like these were companies that had big budgets and they were looking for eyeballs. You know.
These are commercials you're doing, or short stories?
No, not even
ads?
That creative. They were literally straight up ads. I did some social media campaigns that were more creative. Like we did a video series with Yellow Cream Cheese, and so that was like my first foray into like branded content.
So that's how you make sure a roof stays over your head and food is on your plate.
Yep.
Now, what are you also doing to satiate the soul and make media? Why? Why do you also need to do that? Because it sounds like you're fine.
Yeah, like bills are
You're making a
paid.
living.
Yeah, bills are paid. So I came up with the show Broken Hearts Division about a cop who fights crimes of the heart.
Okay.
BrokenHeartsDivision.com. And that was a little mini plug because we're going into pre-production on the series in a month, so that's exciting. But I wanted to create a character for myself and be able to hire people I liked, and I liked the control because I'm type A.
That's a bark track we have.
Yes.
No, laugh
no.
They're not laughing.
They're actually laughing with
for
us.
They're cheering for what you're saying.
No, there's two of them, and they are fun. They're like staring at me right now. They're good. So I knew at some level I kind of saw the writing on the wall as far as like business and like how the entertainment industry worked, how things get done, and even just as an actor, you're like the lowest level of the totem pole. Like you have no control, and I didn't like that at all. Like just I didn't come from a Coppola family, and like I didn't have, you know what I mean?
Got it.
I couldn't like trade in on that. So I just started writing this show, and you know, I was laughing because I started that show in 2008. I came up with the idea when we knew each other, when we were like doing the film.
Yeah.
So, and then I shelved it. So you would ask, like, have you ever, you would ask me earlier, like, have I ever quit or whatever. And that I shelved because of a number of things. Basically, just the timing wasn't right, and I wasn't ready to like kind of erect an empire, which is kind of what it is like, you kind of have to really like have the mental fortitude to produce. You need like mental fortitude and like finances, so you're not like scrambling and freaking out. And so I finally was at that place in 2016. I just was like, enough already. Like, it's time to go. And for me, deadlines are the key. Like, New York Television Festival was like a perfect festival for this show. And so I told the team that I had sort of amassed, I sort of partnered with the director, and for this pilot that we shot in 2016, I said, this is the deadline. Like, we have to get it in by this date because this is the cutoff for this festival. And it's amazing what a deadline does. Like, everybody like galvanized to that deadline. And there was a lot of times they were like, oh, I don't know if we can do that. Like, it'd be great if we had a little more time. And I was like, no, that's a deadline. And I'm so glad, and they did, like everybody rallied, and I was so glad that we did. So then we shot it, and we like got it in the can.
And who paid for it?
I did. So I paid completely.
Bankrolled the whole thing.
I bankrolled the whole thing.
Wow, so not only...
Well, you have to put your money where your mouth is, right? I mean, if you can. Like, that's the point. And like, I guess I'm not 20, so like, you know, most of my friends are now making decent money at whatever they're doing, and so to ask them to just do everything for free, I just didn't feel comfortable. Like, I wanted everybody to get paid something. Okay. That's how I am. Like, I know lots of people that do stuff for free, and I love that, and I think it's amazing. I just knew that, you know, there's something that comes with free, which is like, you know, lack of commitment, and you know, a little bit of money goes a long way when you're doing independent stuff. So
a worker works, a volunteer loiters.
Easy come, easy go. So that's sort of, we shot that in 2016, and then I knew, I sort of hoped that that might get us some traction at some of the networks. It would give us some stuff, and it didn't get me exactly what I was looking for with the networks. And I always knew at the back of my mind, I may end up crowdfunding. And so there's a guy who I met through a friend who's kind of, they call him the Kickstarter guy.
Did you try any other avenues? Rich uncle, or I mean, I don't know if you have a rich uncle.
I do have a rich uncle, but he's a doctor and he's very conservative.
Entertain those avenues before going crowdfunding?
I just know my family, and that's sort of not how they do things.
Did you try meetings?
Yeah, I didn't know, you know, I'm really good at some things and I'm really shitty at others. And so, like, networking is something I'm not, like, I'm, you know, sometimes you get spread so thin as far as what you're doing, and like, finding the right people was not something that I was, like, great at doing. Like, it'd be great to have a producing partner. I mean, that would be the next step in my trajectory, would be to have a really great producing partner.
Were there agents involved, lawyers?
Nope.
Nope. Just you?
Yep, just me. Yeah. Boom. No, and I think that's, like, I feel like sometimes when you have a lot of those extra pieces, it's fine if you're dealing with, like, a network or whatever, but if you're dealing with really wonderfully generous, kind people, that I was, like, we worked with Vanishing Angle. Matt Miller's an amazing, generous person. We shot almost everything at his studio. And that was because of a relationship. So technically, that was a relationship. Scott Rogers, my director, had shot a lot of stuff with Matt. And so Matt kind of came with, like, I call him the gypsy band. So it's like, once he kind of uncorked it, it was like, there was this huge database of, like, all the crew and all of the people that we needed to fund it, or to staff up. And then Rafe, my line producer, who's amazing, just, like, turned it on. And then we had, like, in 3 days, we had a crew. And then we shot almost everything for the pilot at Vanishing Angle. So that was helpful as far as making it work. Now we're going into, like, 5 episodes that are going to be in different locations, so it's a whole another bag of wax.
Gotcha.
But, yeah.
How long are the episodes?
8 to 10 minutes.
8 to 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's not self-funded.
No, I knew I was going to crowdfund. I always knew that was going to be a backstop.
Crowdfunding.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know there's 2 sites, Indiegogo and Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
One,
I mean, there's others.
one you
Seed
get to
and
keep
Spark
the
is
money.
one. Yeah.
Seed and Spark?
Seed and Spark is
Seed
another
and
one.
Spark.
Yeah.
Seed
They're
and
trying to
Spark.
like
Seed and
get their.
Spark.
I like to give them a plug because it's run by women. I'm part of a filmmaker group called Women in Moving Pictures, so I like to give plugs to my.
Yeah.
So Seed and Spark is another one. Yep. Give them a hats off.
Hats off. Okay, so how do you go into that, and what kind of expectation did you have going in?
A lot of meditation.
A lot of meditation.
Yeah, I needed a lot of meditation
So,
and a lot of coffee.
and which one did you do? Indiegogo, Kickstarter?
I did Kickstarter.
Kickstarter.
No, sorry, Indiegogo. Because Indiegogo, you get the whatever you make.
Whatever you make.
Kickstarter, you don't. And
You
I
have
was
to
just
make
like,
a goal.
yep. And I'm glad that I didn't because I didn't make my goal.
Well,
But I did do well. I didn't make my goal. I did not make my goal.
Which
No.
was
40K.
And you hit
34.
see.
Close.
Oh my God!
Close
You would have been on Kickstarter.
I know. If I had been on Kickstarter, it would have been.
I'm not anti-Kickstarter. But
Sorry, Kickstarter.
ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
This would be like an
How-
anti-plug for
so,
Kickstarter. Sorry. I'm sure Kickstarter are. I'm sure they're lovely people.
Certain days.
Yep.
So how? What time frame did you give yourself? Did you hire people to help yourself?
Yeah.
How do you hire somebody to help you?
So Justin sort of got his like formula, and I know you guys are really interested in kind of the business of getting stuff done, and he's got a really good business. Like having been in advertising and marketing for as long as I have, I would say his stuff is kind of like marketing and like marketing 101 in a box.
Okay.
It requires a very methodical nature, which is not my strong suit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really good at some things. Like I said, I'm really good at some things. I'm really shitty at other things. Like following methodical steps of like uploading things and dealing with MailChimp and like dealing with ways of getting all of your contacts into an organized funnel that you are then marketing to every day, every week, every month is like, I knew that I needed to do it, but it was just like I was like pushing like, I don't wanna. Yeah, just like, just because I wasn't like, it was just so much. And I think if you take those pieces like bit by bit, it's not that much, but it was a lot to do. But eventually, once I got into the campaign, I did that, and I did some things well in the campaign.
And this is something you're working on every day,
Well,
every other day, at night.
Yeah, I mean, it's ideally you're prepping for 3 months for a crowdfunding campaign
Before you
launch.
pull the trigger.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
For all of if you really do it the right way, you have a methodical approach from your MailChimp or whatever newsletter that you're going to focus on, and you're building an audience on Facebook because Facebook is kind of the #1 way to fund, just because people will directly go from an instant message. I'd like to apologize now for all the people that I instant message on Facebook. You were part of it, whether you knew it or not. Yeah, so it is like hand-to-hand combat for like 40 days. Just grinding and like getting like putting a hold like on the last week of the campaign, like we were given like blocks because there was so much. I had an assistant that was helping me, and so we were literally like, I was on my mom's Facebook account, and I was on my account, and my assistant was on another account. So it's like, yeah, it's not everyone's like, oh, I've heard it so hard. I mean, it is, but it also, one of the things that was big for me, like doing this whole campaign, because I've been in advertising and sales for other people for so long, I've been selling other people's stuff. And this is the first time that I'd actually been advocating for myself. Yeah, advocating for my work, advocating for my voice, advocating for like coming out like a fucking phoenix out of like hiding for like basically 7-8 years. So
yeah, and even if it were ego was involved, I mean, it sounds like you got that in check through the process, even if it was there was anything.
You can't have an ego when you're doing a campaign like that, because so many people don't do something, and like you can't take it personally. Like that's the one piece that, I mean, he gave me lots of great pieces of advice, but the biggest piece of advice was like, don't take anything personally. The people who you expect will give you money, will not, and the people who you do not even expect will give you money will come out of nowhere. And that's exactly what happened. And so that was like, but I think that's also a great lesson in life, is like, I would tell people, look, I'm gonna ask you this thing, this big thing, whether it was money or Facebook invites or whatever, I'm gonna ask you this big thing. And I'm gonna blatantly, shamelessly ask you this thing with no expectation that you'll do it. So it was like, I got this like sense of like, I'm gonna go for this, I'm gonna ask you this. And I also want our friendship to stay intact, and therefore I will ask you this with zero expectation. And that was like a huge lift for me, but especially when you're working, like when you're promoting yourself or your project or your script or whatever, it was like a huge mental block for me, because that was always why I had a hard time, was because there was a little bit of an expectation, which people can feel, and then it's weird. And you don't want it to be weird. You just want it to be like enthusiasm, and like people will do what they're gonna do, and you can't take it personally. So that was like, you know, people don't talk about that part, but I think, well, maybe they do, but that was like the biggest hurdle for me. Like asking for money, not a big hurdle. I've been doing sales for my whole life, so asking for money is not a big thing, but like, I mean, it kind of is. I mean, when you're talking to your friends and your family and stuff, it is.
And so what were you telling them? Hey, you invest in this, or help me fund, or how did you frame it? And then what, if any, promise did you give to your investors, financiers, friends?
My firstborn children.
Firstborn children. Kind of low.
I got so many.
Those things out quick.
So many firstborns. So many firstborns. You know, there was some like, oh, do I have a piece of this? Is this an investment? And it was an investment. So like all my taxes.
It was or was not?
It was not an investment. It's basically a donation. Yeah. You know, when you do crowdfunding, it's a donation. And I had some like very businessy people that were like, where's your business plan? I was like, no business plan. Like, you give money and you get a badge. Or you get like, you know, or you get like whatever the swag is. You know, we had like badges, which I think are personally really cool. I should have brought one. But the badge, the hat, the mug, you know, handcuffs.
Okay.
He doesn't need more handcuffs.
Yeah.
So that was always the thing, and it was really, you know, could you get behind this? And like doing that, I mean, I would say that I probably, in the span between like November, when I started kind of really building the Facebook group, and I asked people to like invite their friends to like the Facebook group. So that was the beginning of advocating. And so I did that 90 times. And we had like 90 people. I had 90 people help me build my Facebook group, and now we have 4,500 people.
Wow.
So people were like, oh wow, and that was like, again, more hand-to-hand combat. Like, it's not like that happened magically. That was me calling my friends and asking them to do me a favor. And then I'm not a technical person, and most of my friends aren't technical people. So it's like you're doing a Facebook trick that's like kind of technical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I do just let me get into your Facebook account. I'll do it for you.
And I'm searching for some aspect of that that's sexy. There's
nothing sexy. Nothing sexy about it. Nothing.
You just said.
Yeah. Ta-da! This is just hard work. Yeah. But I think like anybody that I know that has like a big YouTube audience or a big, like they worked hard at it. You know, the YouTubers or whatever. Like I'm always like, you know, what the hell are they doing? But they worked hard at it, you know? Like
some of those guys every single day. 1 or 2 videos.
Yep. Like that is creating content every day, and whether or not the quality is up to par, like it's consistency, it's finding your audience, it's giving back to your audience, it's having a dialogue with your audience.
Well, and the landscape is changing so quickly. I mean, Alex was telling me the statistic, correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, it was there's more footage on YouTube right now than the history of television.
Wow. It does not surprise me in the least.
The history of the entirety of television.
Yeah.
No.
Most of them are cats.
Most of them are cats.
Yeah.
But then the fail
I
videos.
love the cat videos.
The fail. But it's an
fail
engagement.
blog.
It's an
Don't
engagement.
fail me now.
It's
so
a different
yeah.
way, I think that a younger audience is experiencing.
Yeah.
On the phone,
it's just encouraging more like
yeah.
ADD, but.
Yes, but they're the ones that are going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Paying for it. An old guard that we want to go. We'll go see that and go to the theater. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I also think that like it's the way I see it is like there's sort of an experience that you want to have with content, right? And you want something that's going to make you feel. I was talking to a fellow collaborator, like you want truth, and as long as there's some truth to it, and I know you and I have this funny talk about what truth is, but I think that people I think they like some of this content because it's just honest and raw, and they're connected to that. As far as like the experience that they're having with it. So like going to a big blockbuster where you're in like Wonder Woman and this Cinerama Dome, and you're having this big experience with all these other people having this experience together, people will still go for that. As far as like content, like that's what I'm trying to create with Broken Hearts Division is like people can submit love crimes that we might use that, you know, so it's like a case of like assault with a deadly text.
So like perfect segue, so where do you see it going and what you do with it? Are you is there expectation of either monetizing it or selling it or getting more work from it? I mean, you know what I mean?
Yes,
yes,
to all of that.
Please.
Yes to all of that. I mean,
all of the above.
Yeah, I think so. Building an audience for me like was always the key, and having stuff that people would connect with. And I think everybody's had a broken heart if they have one. Assuming they have a heart. That everyone's had a broken heart, so everybody can relate to that. And then how do they interact with that content? Whether they're submitting like. We've talked about doing like a podcast with Mac Merriweather as my cop character, like doing a public access show where people can do call-ins, like having this kind of continual kind of dialogue with an audience is sort of where I see it right now. Would obviously love to take it to TV. I think there's obviously enough content. There's so many love crimes that there's, you know, I modeled it after like Law and Order. So it's ripped from the headlines, love crimes that you would see anywhere. Lying with no intent to call, high-speed chase to marriage, excessive use of we. You know the ones. So yeah, so that, not we the P, we the we. So the proverbial we. So yes, would like to monetize it. I'm not sure how.
Somebody blowing up.
This is when we dance. This is the dance break.
Did something awesome.
We're dancing.
Caller. Go
ahead.
Oh,
there is a caller. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's natural. Thank you. They're all natural. Everything.
Everything is natural.
Yep.
Okay, so monetizing it looks like getting more work.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a very, very smart question. Monetizing it. You can buy a badge on brokenheartsdivision.com and be a deputy. You too can be a deputy. You know, swag is like kind of a thing that I think is, I mean, it's where Marvel is like, it's all about stuff.
Star Wars,
yeah.
Money off the toys.
Yeah, totally swag with gear. Sort of, and I also wanted to use that crowdfunding campaign to kind of force myself to create gear, because I was like, well, these will be the first people to get the gear, and then I get to show what the gear is in action. Like if people are going to bust love crimes, and I've got a bunch of deputies running around. Awesome.
Yeah.
Busting love crimes. I'm deputizing people. They're running around like busting love crimes. That kind of footage just makes me giggle. So it's like I want people, you know what I mean? Now there's an engagement with the story. It's now alive. You know, it's like I always think when you put something in somebody's hands and let them kind of play with it, it also increases engagement. Sorry, that's like behind the Oz curve.
Yeah,
that's behind the Oz curve shit.
That's too awesome. too honest of an answer and a question.
But that's a producer question. I mean, like
It's a producer question, but it's a creator question. I mean, you can't not. I don't think you can be a creator without understanding what it takes to produce it.
Yeah,
it's a thing. You have to go sell it, or otherwise you're making it. You make yourself, you make yourself something, and you want to go show it to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, Alex always says, what's the Mona Lisa? What's good about the Mona Lisa if no one else sees it?
Well, her eyes are weird.
Her eyes are weird.
That's like,
weird. But
that's
everybody's seen it.
That's why everybody wants to go. It's like, where is she looking? Why does she keep shifting? She's so shifty-eyed. They all want to see if she follows them, amongst like the throngs of people that are looking at her. Like, is she still watching me? She's still watching me. That's why everybody goes. It's really just a party trick. It's like a really fancy party trick. Right?
Yeah.
The Mona Lisa. Just a party trick.
There's food.
Oh,
let's do that.
Also produced by Baja Fresh.
Produced by Baja Fresh today.
Potentially your future
caterer.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
This might be I just gave you a plug because I'm an advertiser and that's how we roll.
Thank you for watching Producer's Kitchen.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Wow.
Go to BHD_TV to follow us on Instagram or find us on Facebook at Broken Hearts Division. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you. Oh my God, we didn't even talk about advertising.
No.